Well, welcome to Romera Records virtual cast. Today we have on Derek Shayne. How's it going, man?
Just fine. I want to say something. Hiya, Jackson. Now, I've been waiting my entire life to say that. And you probably would have no idea why.
I don't. Why?
Because I'm like old school with a capital old school. I mean, that's my thing. I'm
Yeah.
old school. In the 1940s, there was a guy named Phil Harris on the Jack Benny radio show. And every time he would come out and he would look at Jack and he would say, Hiya, Jackson. Now, I don't know how much of your audience is going to get that, or maybe they'll go on YouTube and find out for themselves.
Yeah.
But I've been waiting my entire okay, enough of that.
That's crazy. So, to everybody who doesn't know who Derek is, he does
Somebody doesn't know.
he does some.
Wait a minute. Give me names, man. I want names. Somebody doesn't know who I am.
I want to know more about what you do. So he does some great comedy, and it's in a different way than most people are used to seeing comedy, and especially in today's age where we have a certain way of doing it.
Yeah.
Eric does a special way that most people are used to seeing that's different. So
They would call, well, see, actually, it's not all that different. It's just, I guess you get classified as retro now, I guess.
yeah.
That is the style of comedy that I do was popular in the 1930s.
Hmm.
Now, it was passe when I was a kid.
Hmm.
And so, but it hooked me. I was a child of the 60s.
Okay.
I know. I can see the look on your face now. That explains everything about that guy. You know what they say? If you remember the 60s, you weren't there.
Wow.
Okay. Anyway, but while all of my peers, Mike, were into the current stuff, and hey, man, the Stones and Zeppelin and all that kind of stuff. Everything. I was listening to Paul Whiteman music and Count Basie, and a lot of those guys, and those movies, Laurel and Hardy, W.C. Fields, the Marx Brothers, that kind of thing. It just hooked me. And this was like in the 1960s, and those had been made all the way back in the 1930s.
Hmm.
But that style I just said, I just love this style of comedy. And that is basically what our films are. They're short, they're mostly 20 minutes. Uh, they're in color now and they're widescreen because you got to bend with the times, man. Otherwise, they'd be those little square black and white boxes. But that's what we do. Got a hell of a crew, got some great actors that give of their time. I write it. I got a good director, Scotty Tamura. My kid, Ryan Taylor, does all the photography and all the CGI and all the what little we use of that. And so it's kind of a family affair there. But then we have, I can't forget, I got to get these names in because I'll never forget. Bob Barnett is our IT guy. He also appears in the movies as an actor. The guy is a whiz. He's the one that made the mark on the net. And that all too well yourself. That is a tough nut to crack.
Yeah.
The field is so crowded.
Yes.
I mean, and I've heard people that do podcasts tell me horror stories, and you probably lived them about being pushed to the back of the line, and
Yeah.
But you got to get out there, and I guess the most interesting thing about the style of films we do is that all the experts said it wouldn't work. Now, I don't know who these people are, the experts. They're called they sometimes. I don't know who they are. I'd like to find out. They said, number one, nobody's gonna buy that style of comedy anymore. Number two, attention span. You're not going to get people to sit still for 20-minute films on the net. Number three, you shoot some in black and white. You aren't going to get any kids watching black and white. We broke every rule there was and became a success.
Mm.
So I think there may be a life lesson in there somewhere.
Absolutely.
Just because they say you can't, uh, and it's not going to work, not necessarily true. And it was it was just a trip. I grew up in Miami. I worked in local radio and TV there. In the mid 70s, I decided, all right, that's it. I'm going to Hollywood. I went to Hollywood about 1975, 76. Hollywood and I had a disagreement. I thought I had talent. They said I didn't.
Hmm.
So turned around, came back, and in retrospect, it's a good thing I did because I have a zero BS tolerance.
Mm-hmm.
I'm one of those guys that, hey, lay the cards on the table, say what you mean. Come on, let's not play games about this. That town is built on BS. That's all it is.
Yeah.
It's very, very hard to succeed in that. And, and there's a good old boys club. Not everybody can get in. And, okay. So after that, I said, I worked at other jobs. I said, well, if I do that, if I can do films, I'll do films. If not, but I said after that, if I ever do this, I'm going to be an independent. I'm going to be totally my own man. I'm going to be answerable to nobody.
Mm.
And so that's what we ended up doing. And I guess I've had people come to me and say, if you got a good money man and he sunk a bunch into this movie, man, you could get a huge budget. You could really make. And I said, yeah, but the minute somebody puts the money in, they want to say in what the movie is, and they should have. If I put money in it, I'd probably want that too. But once they have a say, it's not yours anymore, and you start losing control and all of that. But anyway, we have been very, very successful with these things. And right now, well, it's a long story. It's probably boring how we got, when we were on Daily Motion, we were doing 2.5 million hits per short subject.
Dear God.
That's why when you said, that's for you, who hasn't heard of me, excuse me. No, I know. But that was incredible. Now, Daily Motion had their own ideas about how they were going to do the money and the revenue and everything, and it got to be a mess. I said, that's it. Forget it. I'd already gone to battle with YouTube. I'd already gone to battle, and look.
What were your issues with YouTube?
Excuse me?
With YouTube? What were your issues with YouTube?
Mostly copyright.
Mm.
And it was interesting because we do, and mostly music. And people, and I understand that, but the copyright business is a very fine line on the net. What we do is we use public domain music. And if we wanted something special, of course, we'd have to license it. I mean, it's only fair. But YouTube started flagging everything. And anyway, I promised I wasn't going to go there. Okay. Because I know you're on YouTube. I'm not going to badmouth them. It is their platform. They're giving you the space. They have a right to do what they do. Yeah. It just didn't work well with me. And so we decided we'd go and be a self-server, and we started we put the server in right in the house and started. And that was a college education in the ways of big tech. If I hadn't had Bob Barnett, he's a licensed internet tech, I could have never waded through that. But we did it.
Have you ever thought about using Patreon?
No, I haven't.
You don't know what Patreon is? Oh man,
Jackson, do I have to tell you again? I've got an AOL.
Okay.
What is it with this kid? He doesn't. 29. I mean.
So, I'm actually thinking about moving my podcast to just Patreon. I haven't decided yet, but Patreon's a website to where you just post your content and people pay to watch it. And
it's like a pay-per-view?
Basically, yeah. I mean, you can change, like, you can have tiers. So you can have, like, all right, if you pay me $2 a month, I will, post my video and you can watch it and see blah, blah, blah content. If you pay me $30 a month,
So like subscribers.
yes, yes, it's like, it's pure subscription. Like, people can pay you whatever a month and they will get to see, whatever content based off the tier that you create. And it's really cool because you can change,
So you're like different level tiers of what, just content?
absolutely. I mean,
And like is each one like a price package that you
yeah, you can customize it however you want to. Like,
uh,
even if you are an artist, you could say, if you pay me $20 a month, I'll draw you a picture and, send it to you, or, email it to you, or physically mail it to you, whatever.
mm,
And if you pay me $100 a month, I'll sign it and blah, 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 blah. And you can just create those tiers however you want to. So for your people who are interested in your content, you can just, however much money they want to pay, that's how much you add value to the tiers.
we had two of the films on Amazon at one time, and we did not do well.
Mm.
And we've got a huge following who the joke around here is are the cheapest people on the planet, apparently. I should say, now I just insulted my entire audience. but, but
They know who they are.
excuse me. Yeah, but it's like and I said to the guys, look, I think we're going to fall on our butts for pay-per-view.
Mm.
So let's go with the advertising
Mm.
and make the money that way.
Yeah.
And but if that's the way you're going to go, I really hope it works. It sounds like it should work.
You would be surprised. Like, so I was asking Rachel to look into it for me and see if it would be beneficial. And you would be surprised at what some people, because you can see how much, not how much money people are making, but like if you do the math, you can see how many subscribers people have in their tiers.
And people are making bucks there, huh?
Yes. Like, people will have a tier of like $50 a month, and
Whoa. Whoa.
they'll have like 2,000 subscribers, and all they do is, like, I don't know, paint pictures or like build Legos or something like that. They're just
Two,
videoing that.
two, 2,000 subscribers at 50 a piece.
I'm just making up random numbers, but I have seen stuff like that.
No, I'm saying
But if you
that's some change.
exactly, if you think about it, if you get just, I don't know, 2,000 people and they pay you $1 a month, you're making
Sure.
$2,000 a month. And
When we were doing 2.5 million hits on Daily Motion, and everybody looked at each other and just said, just $1 a piece.
$1.
All over they think $1 a piece.
Yeah, that's
I'd
exactly.
be in Hawaii right now saying,
That's exactly right.
yeah,
I I I I I really value that concept because so I do music, and when you're an artist, all you need is so many people to show up at a show. Like, you don't need. So I guess the contrast and the thought of this is like, you don't need some super rich person to show up at your show. You just need random people to show up at your show
right, right.
and fill the room,
Yep.
and you're happy. It doesn't matter who those people are.
Nope.
You just need people
People.
every single time you perform, and that's how you make a living. And
That's right.
just with the Patreon, if you could get, as I said, 2,000 people to just pay $1,
Yeah, a steady following that would always be there. Yeah.
exactly,
Doesn't, like you say, it doesn't have to be huge.
exactly, yep.
It just has to be a steady.
Hmm. And even if you bumped it up to, so let's say you start at $1, so you got 2,000 people paying $1. Then you're like,
Yeah.
what? I'm gonna raise it to $2. Now you're making $4,000 a month.
There you go.
Now I'm gonna raise it to $5. Now you're making $10,000 a month off $5.
I do like the way you think, Mr. Jackson.
I'm a numbers guy, so
Yeah, I can tell. I can tell. Yeah, if anybody can do it, you will. It's really, I think. Well, right now, it's a young man's game. I when I was your age, I would have been right in there, like just exactly like that. Now it's you get to the point you want to take it a little bit easier. I don't know. It's I'm gonna be 70.
Oh wow. So when did you start?
I started technically. I started with a Super 8 camera when I was 14 years old.
Oh wow.
A lot of people did that. Steven Spielberg started that way.
Hmm.
I wonder whatever happened to him.
Never heard of her.
But no, and then over the years, I just kept making these films, and some a line came back to haunt me. Uh, Somebody said to me when I was a kid, and I kept churning out these lousy Super 8 films. They said, "Are you going to go on making those silly movies for the rest of your life?" Fast forward 2021.
Yep. Do you think that so I feel like what you're doing though has come full circle because if you think about the way, the films used to be, have you looked into TikTok?
TikTok is it's been suggested a lot. Art, my style of comedy, the funniness of it does not lend itself to the length of a good TikTok. TikTok's pretty much,
Yeah.
you know,
It's
and
like
there's some great stuff on there. I'm not, but our stuff kind of it's a lazy one situation moves into another, and you constantly keep it funny.
so I
And
think that like
we don't do jokes per se and that kind of thing. It's situations and slapstick and I always said that what they all the Derek Shayne audience really wants out of one of the films is for the old guy to fall down a lot and the dog to sit there and look at the camera like, do you see this idiot that I'm saddled with? And that's what she does. That's what they love the most.
so like I feel like though I mean even you were talking about earlier with people's attention span.
Mm-hmm.
I mean 20 minutes isn't that long. I mean, so think about most people who watch
Well, now this is what the experts said,
yeah,
Jackson. The
of course.
experts are saying, like, they and they're going, and I'm going to tell you, I'll tell you this right up front. I look at our analytics. We've got the youth market like you wouldn't believe.
Hmm.
We've got a youth demographic that Wall Street would kill for. I mean, it's or Madison Avenue. It's advertising wise, we got the kids, and I'll tell you why. It's all new to them.
Hmm.
It's probably all new to you.
Yeah, yeah.
They've never seen this kind of comedy before.
Hmm.
And most of them, and a lot of them would write me and they think I came up with it. That's when you get to say, look, YouTube for whatever else it is, I mean, everything's there. I mean, it's an educational crash course. If you really, I mean, everything's there. That's when you get to tell them, look, go over to YouTube, check out people like Buster Keaton, Harold Lloyd, those types, and you'll see where it all came from way at the beginning of the 20th century. And it's great stuff. Everything that I'm doing is because I was influenced by that. And I will not, I say it over and over, we'll never make the great American film. I mean, the great American comedy. We're not going to do it. Our stuff is escapism,
Hmm.
pure escape. We got a rule: no preaching, no politics, no social messages. We get that enough. 24 hours a day. That's all you get. This is escape. Check your brain at the door.
Hmm.
It's escape. And that's and if you're like, and if you smile or you laugh for a few minutes, that was a purpose. Nothing else. And then when you start getting emails from people who have just lost a loved one, uh, maybe in a sick bed, something like that, saying, I just wanted to write you and thank you for that smile when I needed it so bad.
Mm.
Well, Jackson, I mean, I mean, come on.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the greatest. I do believe making another human being laugh is one of the greatest gifts you can give. You say you're into music, music, same thing, because you know how music can do with emotions. I mean, it just calls to mind all kinds of things. Giving that gift to a fellow human is the greatest gift you can give. And the old time comic Red Skelton a long time ago said, if God gave you the gift to make people laugh and you don't use it, it's a sin.
Mm.
There you go.
I definitely believe that because, like, I always think I'm a big time thinker just about like what humans do as like psychologically, and I always
Mm-hmm.
think like what is the definition of like having fun? Like what do you when you say let's have some fun? Like what are you doing? And
Isn't that an individual
yeah, I mean
concept?
it is. And usually when I think of having fun, I think of laughing. Like that's what I usually
Yeah.
associate fun with is like laughter.
Yeah, that would be a universal human part of having fun.
So
Uh,
when I think about people like just enjoying themselves and like, doing something fun, comedy is like I feel like that's the center of having fun.
but yeah, yeah, because even when you're out with your friends, you're making jokes and trying to make each other laugh, and you're down, and yeah, that's what it is. It's also entertainment is one of the most subjective things there is.
Yes.
There is no right or wrong. Some of the worst movies ever made. Oh shoot, sorry about that.
Oh no, you're fine.
Some of the worst movies ever made.
If that was the old landline, you'd have to hang up. You couldn't work with the internet.
Oh yeah, I'd be gone now. Um, it's most subjective thing there is your entertainment. No right and wrong. Some of the worst movies ever made are some of my favorites. I get a kick out of them. So when people say, when you're talking about what makes people laugh, I think it almost falls into that category. People, I think people laugh over the same things
Hmm.
everywhere, no matter where they are in the world. I think the same things will make them laugh.
Hmm.
I guarantee you can take a kid anywhere in the world and they will laugh at a fart.
I knew you were going to say fart.
Yeah,
It's just universal.
it is, and not only kids.
Yeah.
I did a scene. It's in Ain't It Grand, where I'm supposed to be visiting my grandfather, and I did a scene where I'm rocking back and forth in a chair, and the leg of the chair is coming down on this little ball, and every time I move the chair for it, it makes a fart noise.
Hmm.
Now the dog is looking at me. I'm looking at my grandfather. My grandfather is thinking I'm doing it. Nobody's. I mean, it's actually, it's not a real fart. It's the noise from the ball. I had a guy that does. He restores classic films. He's very well known in the business. I'm not going to mention his name for what I'm about to say. He said that fart scene with that ball made me laugh more than I would ever want anybody to know. And so, but it's a universal thing, and we finding that out. It's an old story. Our number one country right now on the channel on the net is Turkey.
Hmm.
Now, the United States rarely shows up in our top 10, and that doesn't really bother me. I mean, that's, but a lot of third world countries. Why do you think? Why do you think that style of comedy is appealing to somebody in a third world country? They need the laughs.
Hmm.
A lot of them aren't having it so well,
Hmm.
and they're needing the laughs. I always say this one, but there's no coincidence that the golden age of slapstick comedy happened in the 1930s, and that was the Great Depression.
Mm.
People just want to escape, just
Yeah.
escape. Now, having said that, there's room for everything. I it's just we just don't particularly do that. I probably couldn't do it well. I think what we do very well, but there's room for, I mean, all other kinds of movies and everything like that, and even see, our thing was with a Derek Shayne movie. I always say you can always have the kids in the room, always,
Mm.
and grandma and all of that kind of stuff. But that doesn't mean I don't appreciate other kinds of humor. I'm not a prude. I mean, clever, dirty humor is good.
Yeah.
I mean, I appreciate it if it's clever. If it's just a shocking, that doesn't take any brains to do that. But if it's cleverly done, it's funny. And I think I don't I I I don't think anybody on the net, at least I've never seen it, does what we do. And we've come to the conclusion that nobody can.
Mm.
It's a thing that, I really wish somebody would do it. Somebody else would do it too.
Mm.
But I don't think they can. And it's successful.
Mm.
They're not doing it. I mean, they want to do it, they'll be pulling in, pulling in the views.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think they can. It's a I don't want to say it's a lost art, because but it was like I've never been able to find anybody that could write me a script for a 20-minute Derek Shayne movie. Never. They've sent them, and you should see the stuff.
Mm.
And I'm thinking to myself, I'm looking at the boys and I'm going, it ain't rocket science. Why can't they nail this? It's a certain thing.
Do you think that it has become like a lost art? Like people, since so many people haven't been doing it, it's
Yes.
like people lost the skill.
Yes.
Mm.
Eh, and you'll get people try to explain why, and they'll say, well, there's no market for that kind of stuff anymore. It's old, it's past it. And why are we always doing so well? It doesn't make a lot of sense. But no, I don't think you I think it's lost. I think it's just hasn't been done. And I'll tell you, kids or the younger generation, I really am tired of getting such a bad rap.
Mm.
The media, for some reason, is out to convince us that this is the lost generation or something. They got their cell phones stuck in their face, and they don't know nothing, and they don't. I know so many bright kids out there because I talk to them. Some of them say they want to do those kind of films.
Mm.
They're out there. And I'll tell you another thing. There are more talented kids out there right now making videos in their mama's basement than in all of Hollywood combined.
Yeah.
And they're out there. Hollywood, I said this on another podcast. Hollywood, I think, is dead, and it hasn't got the sense to lie down yet. Because, I mean, they had a bad year with the coronavirus. I understand all of that, but hey, superhero movies are fine for a while, but
Yeah. I noticed one thing. So have you ever seen Stranger Things on Netflix?
I have seen parts of it. Yes.
So, the cast is majority kids. And then
Mhm.
there's this new show that Netflix has out. I can't remember the name of it. Maybe like 1984 or something like that. And it's like a camp. It's a camping experience, and the main characters are kids. And then American Horror Story. That was a phenomenal series. It had like 7 or 8 seasons or something like that. All adults. The new season that just came out, the majority of the cast, kids. And I'm wondering if Big Movie realized, hey, we could get kids to be our lead characters, do almost as good as a job as adults, pay them far less, and we make more money because they don't know any better because they're kids, and we're still going to make money because people are still going to watch it because
Oh, my kid would have a smart agent. I don't know, but then they'd probably say, well, if he wants that much money, get rid of him. You know, I heard that story is supposed to be true, that Disney has perfected human CGI to the point where you really can't tell.
Mm,
Now, you talk about a dream acting team.
yeah.
Create your stars.
They don't.
They're not they're not going to complain about the script.
Yep.
They're not going to need any insurance. They'll do all their old stunts. I mean, it's a producer's dream. And then of course no salary.
Mm.
So you just lick up the gravy. God.
And that's like thinking about that is what makes me value, close to what you do, but also as well as like live theater. Like my wife hates like live plays and stuff like that, but I respect it so much just because I'm like,
That's an art form in itself.
yeah, these people are doing this live. Like
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
there's no second take. Like they can't just say, hey, stop.
Mm-hmm.
My stomach hurts. Can we redo this one or
Well,
something?
in the 1950s, a lot of the television shows were live.
Oh yeah, like all the sitcoms and stuff like that.
And they were, and that was, they did dramatic stuff on TV. Studio One, Playhouse 90. It was like in the early 50s. And they had to go through that entire hour live. And if you goofed up, there was no turning back.
That's so crazy.
But well, there was, after that came videotape, and then they could, but yeah, it's I don't, you know, I don't know what the future of entertainment is right now, but you're certainly going to find out.
I mean,
And I think you're smart being in on the ground floor in a lot of this. Go for it. Just go for it. I got to say this before this is over because I promised myself I would. I am a very positive person. I have always tried to stay positive. I have been a no fear person. There's no reason for fear. Get it out of your life. There are things to be concerned about, yes, and things you're going to have to, but to be afraid, no, no. Or try, try the best you can. But the ultimate thing is, and it's an old saying, but it's true. Follow that dream.
mm,
Follow your heart, Jackson Henderson. No matter what anybody says, you're going to have a million people telling you why it's not going to work and all this. And, oh, you know what happened to so and so? He lost his shirt with that deal. And just if you know inside of you, if it's still driving you, man, don't stop. Just don't stop, because I'm going to promise you, in the end, it's going to pay off.
mm,
Now, I can't guarantee you how many years that's going to take,
yeah,
but I will promise you, in the end, you're going to win.
yeah.
But just don't. People just I don't know whether they're jealous or what, but they got so many reasons why what you're going to do is not going to work.
Yeah.
Well, I proved them all wrong. And I'm telling you, anybody can do it. Just stay on that road and follow your heart. And that it really works.
I've noticed that most of the successful people who are doing what they're doing is because they just kept doing it.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't hardly, if ever, meet somebody who is really successful who quit. Like,
Exactly.
like it's almost impossible to find that.
I've done everything practically everything I set out to do. I made myself a promise that I was not going to be sitting in the rocker on the front porch in my final days going, I wonder what would have happened if I'd have done so and so. No, I don't want any unanswered questions. I did it. Now, succeed, fail, doesn't make any difference. At least you don't have an unanswered question.
Mm.
Well, that's what happened. I fell on my butt, so, but just, yeah, you're right. Nobody, no, if you're going to quit, you're not going to succeed.
Yeah.
And so many quit right before the big break. And that's the thing. And then you find yourself saying, yeah, but I mean, I found myself saying it myself, um, if I quit now, what if that big success is right around the corner? Well, you keep going or you're never going to know.
Yeah. And right now, so I'm in school for music business through Full Sail University, but I was doing audio production. And
Mhm.
the first month of audio production, I'm going, you can click and see like who's in your class. And so I'm just going through the people in the class, looking at who's, what everybody's major is. And there's this one guy, his name was DeAndre Porter. And now me and him are like best friends. But, I just messaged him and I was like, yo, I see you do music. What do you do? And he was like, oh, I'm a rapper. And I was like, all right, cool. We should make music together, collab, whatever. So we start talking, and then, I told him he lives in Louisiana. He used to live in New Orleans, and I'm in Memphis. And so I was
Mhm.
like, oh, I'll just come down there. It's like 6 hours. And he he said he didn't believe me. Like he went along with it. He was like, all right, cool, yeah, yeah, yeah. You can come down this weekend. I told him whatever, blah blah blah. And so I finally go down there, and I call him to tell him, I'm there. And when I met him down there, he was like, dude, I'm gonna be honest, I did not believe you. I was like, for real? He was like, man, where I'm from, people don't do that. Like people don't just meet random people and like decide to, work with them and stuff like that. And I was like, that's crazy.
Oh, it's like it's like the old thing, Oh yeah, we got to do lunch someday. Yeah,
Yeah,
right. You don't pay any attention to. Oh yeah, I'm coming down to see you, and then you show up and you go, what the hell? He's really there.
yeah.
But
And
that says a lot about you.
yeah, and as I said, we've grown to be, great friends and everything. And he told me, he's like, man, I'm gonna be for real. I have been doing music for a long time, and I had like stopped doing music right before you messaged me. And ever since you've been talking to me,
Ah,
like trying to do music with me, he was like, that's what's really got me going. And now that's all we talk about is music. Like he is on fire for music, and
man, you talk about your cosmic timing.
yeah, he
You
was,
you stepped in right at that moment
yeah,
when he was getting ready to quit.
yeah,
See, that was meant to be.
yeah.
That's just one of those things.
And I,
You had no choice but to go down there and see him.
oh yeah, that like think about how many people that's probably happened to with whatever music, just entertainment in general,
A
movies,
lot, a
anything.
lot. Yeah, we like it happened with us. What it was hooking up with Bob Barnett in Oklahoma, and we had a hell of a product, and nobody was seeing it because I didn't have those marketing skills and the technology to get it out there. He did. So that was turned out to be a combination that was just like magic. And he approached me about doing something. He says, "Can I try
Mm.
doing this and that and that?" And it's been 10 years. And man, the guy, I will say it publicly, the guy put us on the map. We got a good product, but nobody was seeing it. So what good is that?
So when you have like all your films, like your collection of everything you've done, if you wanted to do something different, would you have to market it as, okay, this is, my blah blah blah. This is my B stuff now. Like you've seen all my A stuff, this is B stuff. Or can you, marriage the two together?
If you believe the critics, there is no A stuff. uh I have we have from time to time I've seen other independent filmmakers whose work I enjoyed that we put on our channel. That's about the extent of it. We don't I don't ever see me stretching out of really what we do because our crowd just doesn't want it.
Mm,
And I sometimes I say, how long are we going to keep with the same figure? That's what they want, and
mm,
they love it. And God bless them because they're. I mean, they're. We got the most loyal crowd in the world. I'm telling you, we were completely off the net for 2 solid years because of all kinds of circumstances.
mm.
When we came back just 8 months ago, there they were. Now, if you listen to the experts again, if you're not in somebody's face every moment, they're going to forget about you.
Yeah,
Well, apparently not.
yeah.
I mean, we got a unique product. I'm not going to deny that, but that crowd is and just loyal and just amazing, and like I say, all over the world. And we don't put captions in captions on the films, and they do really great all around the world. And apparently, but see, that kind of comedy, it's not really that important that you understand every last word. It's
Mm,
slapstick kind of comedy. But we stretched we stretched into one of what I thought was, maybe you check it out sometime. One of our best films was a 1940s film noir called The Long Big Goodbye,
mm.
and it was all in black and white. It was a 1940s detective comedy, and that is probably one of the best things we ever did. But it's very atypical of what we do. But it was it was the cast. It was the greatest ensemble cast, and it was huge. I mean, that thing was a blockbuster.
Yeah.
Then I followed that with another short 20-minute film called Slightly Nuts, where I chased a dog all over town because she's in a runaway baby carriage, and it did. I
I don't
she,
even
oh,
know
she,
what it is, but I'm
oh,
still laughing.
she rolled right through the supermarket, and she's got a pacifier in her mouth, and it's coming over the intercom, runaway baby on aisle 7. Um, and it was just the silliest, crazy thing. It did more hits than the detective thing.
Mm,
So I know our audience very well. I know exactly what they want,
mm.
and I'm happy to give it to them
Yeah.
as long as I can. I mean, I still do all my own stunts and all my own pratfalls and all of that kind of stuff, and it's the only difference now is I got a kid standing by with a case of Tiger Bomb. That's the only difference from the old days. So I've
something
been very good.
something I was thinking about earlier when you were talking about turkey being your number one.
Mm, yep.
Maybe also it's just like just what the type of comedy is. It's more relatable. Not maybe not more relatable, but like more people in different countries are able to relate to the comedy, and they feel like it's I don't know, it's in their world more.
The comedy is the kind of comedy we do is like universally human.
Yeah, yeah.
It's it could happen to anybody, no matter where you are. And there was an old thing, pie in the face is funny no matter who.
Yeah.
You know, and but see, there's a whole thing about pies in the face. Pies in the face are an assault on dignity. The only way you'll laugh is if it is a person who's completely full of themselves and very dignified and very, I am holier than thou,
Mm.
better than you. And when they get that pie, there's your laugh. I mean, surefire. Now, hit some poor homeless person in the street, you know, trying to get something to eat. It ain't funny.
Yep. Yep.
So you see, there's a whole thing about, well, you can. I don't like to dissect things too much. I think you do. I think you get a kick out of that.
I do. I do. Because I enjoy the art of the process. Like I enjoy knowing like why did somebody do that? You know, even with like camera angles, you know, I video stuff and I'm like when I'm watching a movie now, I'm watching the movie, I'm like, why did they shoot that from that angle? Or like didn't they
Do
see
you know? Do you know that I heard a director one time say anybody that's ever directed a film and framed a shot has got a college degree in um now I forgot it, geometry.
hmm,
If they can do it right, that's like geometry to the max.
yeah,
And
yeah.
I thought, okay,
A bunch of shapes.
because I flunked math in 10th grade. I mean, but yeah, trying to just there are no new comic situations at all.
Hmm,
You take the same ones that were forever, you repackage them, you rename them, you update them. There are jokes going around today that began in Greek theater way back and in the Greek times. There's a play called Lysistrata. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but all the women are tired of the men going to war, so they hold out on them. They're not going to get any, right? So the guys are walking around, you know. This is Greek comedy
hmm,
way back, and there are lines in there like, uh, "Dost thou conceal a sword beneath thy tunic?" Now go up a little bit more, and what is it? Is that a banana in your pocket? Or are you glad to see me?
yeah,
It goes. So what the point of it all is? There's nothing new.
yeah.
It's just redone, repackaged, redone, and repackaged. I used to say it all the time. The Laurel and Hardy begat the Honeymooners with Ralph and Ed, and the Honeymooners begat the Flintstones with Barney and Fred. I mean, it's the same thing over and over and over and over. Just repackaged it, and there's nothing new. They're just there are no new jokes.
What do you think about the I guess like the idea behind remakes? I mean, there's been so many remakes.
You're about third person that's asked me that.
It's so weird because like it's almost as if the directors and producers of these are like, all right, I think it's been long enough. Let's go
Mm,
remake this. I think the people are young enough. We can take advantage of their. I wasn't alive during that time.
they rarely do it as well. I think it's a lot of it is from an economic angle
Hmm.
that they're saying this was surefire at one time, so I guess we can do it again, and we guarantee us some box office returns. Whether anybody wants to believe it or not, art has very little to do with your entertainment. It's about the money.
Hmm.
It's a business. So, if you're not making money, that's it.
Yeah.
But I don't think I've ever seen a remake that matched the original. However, you got to understand when you said, I guess we've waited long enough. Another generation may think it's terrific because they have no idea what the original was. So to them, it's just fun.
That is the original to them.
To them, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
To them, it's the original. I remember seeing kids coming out of I I saw some lousy, lousy movies, and the kids will tell you that it was it was good because it didn't suck.
Hmm.
Now, what kind of a see, that's not.
Yeah.
So if it doesn't suck, it's a good movie. I mean, what about back when, or they make great movies today. I don't
Hmm.
want to keep going back there. See, I do that style of comedy, and I always tell people I go there for my entertainment to those years.
Hmm.
I don't live there. I live in the present. I mean, I just happen to like that kind of
Yeah.
escapism. You know,
Do you think that people being able to enjoy that, do you think it just takes a certain kind of person? Like, do you have to be in a certain, I guess, like state of mind to actually enjoy that simplistic comedy because like some people are like, oh, this isn't funny. You know what I mean? Like,
Oh, yeah. Uh, I can understand it. I could imagine if you're in a really bad mood, maybe you look at it and it'll just aggravate you.
mm,
Yeah, wow. Why is he? What the hell is he doing that for? That was dumb. I can see it, but I think for the most part, if you just let it take you away, just take it for what it is.
mm,
Like I said, pure escapism. Just sit back. Does everything have to have a purpose and a message and everything? And I just got this thing about I've not the if it wasn't for the technology of today, I would not be able to do what I'm doing. So I got no problem with that. But I do believe we are over connected. I believe that the human brain was not designed to take this information overload that gets stuck into our heads. It's just too much. It's too much. You need to step back a little bit. And I'm just saying, from a purely physical, like you're going to blow your mind out, you know?
yeah,
And I it's too much.
yeah. I firmly believe like I know a lot of people who are even my age. They'll be like, yeah, man, I just had to get off social media for a little while just because
Yeah.
it's just too much. And
Yeah.
I mean, props to you. I usually use social media as just a tool. So I mean, I even have a timer set on my phone. So I use Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and I usually get on all three to just like check notifications or to post something.
Oh yeah, I was checking you out. You guys got every platform covered, don't you?
Yeah.
I was looking at all of them. I said, I'm telling you, Mr. Henderson, I was impressed.
Thank you. Thank you. I mean,
Eh,
I try to just like give
It was
out.
a lot of work. That's the first thing I thought is, man, that was a lot of work.
Yeah. 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 That's most of my free time is put into making sure people.
Passwords alone.
I want to make sure people just, have easy access to number one, what I'm doing, and then number two, that it's easily consumable. Like, have you ever heard the phrase, a confused mind says no?
I have now.
I mean, it makes
I
sense.
was going to say no, but I didn't want to come off as a confused mind.
Well, if people will basically just not look at something if they're confused. Like, have you ever been shopping for something online and then there's so many options, or you're at
Yeah.
a restaurant and you look at all the food options, and you're like, I'll just take the thing I usually get. It's because
Yeah.
people get confused, they just don't want to make a decision, so they just revert back to what they're used to. And that's what I like to do with my social media is just keep it as simple as possible so people can just, this is it.
You're going to make a hell of an advertising man.
I hope so.
No, honestly, I think so. Marketing, marketing guy, because you're delving into the human side of it, like I haven't heard a lot of people do. So I'm not going to be surprised when you go places. Not in the least.
Thank you. But yeah, I mean, I, I just study what other people are doing. Like, how are other people successful? And even like, so I'm big into the rap industry,
Right.
and rap now is a lot of simpleness. Like, like the lyrics and stuff like that. They aren't, super. A lot of back in the day, it was all about painting a picture and the art of.
Yeah, telling a story.
Yeah, but now it's everything sounds the same. But a lot of people like that. And that might tell you about the audience of rap music now. Like, maybe the younger people just like something simple. They can party.
So are you saying you think they're ready to go back to painting a picture?
I don't know. I don't know if that has transitioned enough. Like, I do see, now it's like trap music is what they call like the big thing now. But I foresee that going to transition out probably within the next like 5 years or so, and maybe
Mm-hmm.
2 years, maybe even sooner than that. And
Mm-hmm.
then it's going to go to something else. And I don't know what, but music is constantly changing, and just like film industry.
Do you know I've always gone by the theory though that if there's that old saying about S sells.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know. And if it does, why bother to do any better? You know? No, 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 sir. I'm being serious.
yeah,
If you can sell crap to somebody and you're making a big, why try to make it any better? I
yeah,
mean, why, you know? But you know, that's a businessman, not an artist.
yeah.
You
And
gotta be you gotta be content and satisfied with what you create. It's an expression. It's expressionism. It's something you want to say, and I think that's where you are.
but I also think that that statement holds true 100% until competition is introduced, because
Ah,
that's how companies progress and humans in general progress. Because
right.
if you have no competition, why get better? Just keep doing what you're doing. But as soon as competition comes into play,
You're
that's when
forced. Yeah.
you're forced to. You tighten up a little bit. Oh,
Mm.
got to do a little bit more. So
Well,
that's even like so. The funniest thing about that is like so I was in the military. I was in the Air Force, and so we're in tech school, and in tech school that's when after basic training, you go to your tech school and you're learning your job, and that's when guys and girls start mingling again, because you can't. I mean, you could talk to girls, but you rarely got a chance to. So in tech school, I was in where was I? Wichita Falls, Texas. There is probably like 350 people in our dorm. About 50 of them, or maybe 100, maybe probably 50, are females.
in your dorm.
Yeah, in the dorm. So let's say we had 350, 300 of them are males, 50 of them are females. Those females don't have to do much
No, 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 not with those odds. No, that's a they pretty much got it.
because there's no competition. Like there's not that
None.
many of them, so they can pick and choose. So, but in the scope of the world, there's tons. Half the world might be females, half males. So when the competition is a factor, females feel like I got to dress a little nice when I go out. I
Mhm.
got to do my hair, makeup, blah blah blah. But in that tech school setting, it was like, oh, I can just do whatever I want.
Well, you just went back and proved the point. That's what I was saying. When you don't have to, why?
Yeah,
If you're successful with the way things are, you know, and if you, I'm saying that may be that situation right now with the music industry, is the way rap is now. If it's making money, you're not going to get people to really want to change it much because why?
yeah. And it's really interesting seeing people do something different that they are just into. So I've seen artists who rap like older rappers, like people
Mm.
from the '90s and stuff, and they aren't as successful, but they still are successful, and they just enjoy what they do, and that's what I think is the beauty of, I guess, the industry of the entertainment industry, is people who are just doing what they value. And even if other people don't value it, like what you're doing, if some people might think, ah, that's old, we don't do
Yeah.
that anymore.
Well, you're always going to have that. Like I said, entertainment is the most subjective thing there is,
Yeah.
and so you're always going to have that. But yeah, I heard a guy say one time that he had come to the conclusion that Dr. Seuss was the best rap artist that ever lived.
Yeah.
And I started thinking about it, and I went, you know what? That kind of makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you make me smile when you say those older rappers, like in the '90s. I'm going, oh,
Hey, it's 2021.
way back in the '90s.
It's 2021.
Ah, yes, it is. But I think you're doing it right. I just feel, I just got a good vibe about you,
Thank
and
you.
you're willing to work for it.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, I tell you again, when I saw those platforms, I just what we just went through with the server and setting up all of that kind of stuff. all I could think of when I saw all of those platforms you're on is thinking, God, that was some work.
Yeah.
God, that was some work.
Yeah.
But you
And
got it all covered now. Now you can spring anything you want.
yeah. It's I think, a lot of people that's where they fail is they just don't want to put in the legwork. And if
Oh, they might receive it right now. They're used to Jackson Henderson, the podcast host, and that kind of thing. Now comes the music and starts pushing it. I got to check Romero Records out.
yeah. And it's all about just being in people's face and just, letting them know, hey, this is what I'm doing. I'm
Yep.
doing this, and you can like it or you can not like it. Doesn't matter. This is what I like doing. So
Well, yeah. Well, that's why I'm doing this.
yeah, yeah.
It's hopefully now. See, I'm right with this. I've done about 3 or 4 podcasts, but I think with yours right now, I told the guys, I said we're going where we haven't gone before. We're going outside our comfort zone with Jackson Henderson's crowd. I'm sure, which is good. It's a good thing. We should, and I'm not going to sit here and get delusional and say everybody's going to love what I do. There's a lot of people that don't, and that's fine. But then might be some people that do,
Yeah.
and I guarantee you, you got any kids?
I don't.
Oh, well, I guarantee you, if you had kids, they'd be Derek Shayne fans.
I'm sure they would.
They were sitting, I got a letter from a woman one time, and she was watching one of the movies with a room full of little kids, and they were sitting on the floor. And she wrote me, she said, I really have got a good mind. I said, do the kids laugh? She goes, oh, yeah, the kids laugh. And I got a good mind to send you the cleaning bill for the carpet.
Oh my goodness.
I
Oh,
took that as a compliment.
that's a compliment. That's a
You know,
compliment. So what's some stuff that you, I guess, are planning on doing? Like are you you know, you,
I did a movie in 2015 called Shane of the Jungle.
okay.
It's not a great film, but I love that film. So right now I'm in the middle of shooting the sequel.
Oh, okay.
But we're going way over the top with it this time.
Nice. Nice.
Some big, visual special effects type of things. And
What
so that's what I'm doing. But it'll have that same feel. You don't want to stray too far from the DTS Entertainment feel, because that's what people are comfortable with. That's what they like.
yeah.
And I want to give them what they want.
Yeah.
And perfectly honest, what they want is what I enjoy doing. So I mean, it's like win-win. I mean, I don't have a problem with it at all. I saw an interesting thing. You might find this interesting. I write these movies for myself. If I think it's funny, it goes in.
Mm.
Now, I saw a documentary on the guys that did the Warner Brothers Looney Tunes films way back in the 40s. And they said the exact same thing. They said, we did those cartoons for ourselves.
Mm.
We thought they were funny. They go, now, look how many other people agreed, even though you were doing it for yourself. The only time I've ever gotten in trouble with any kind of script or a movie problem was trying to adapt to what maybe somebody else wanted to see,
Mm.
instead of following my gut instinct of this is what we do. So you just follow your heart. Just I I I started when I was 14. I hit big success on the internet when I was 60. Now, Jackson, I hope it doesn't take you that many years. But I'm telling you that if you keep at it, it will happen. And I think in a way, it's kind of a blessing, because when most old dudes are ready to sit down in the rocker or let's go on the golf course, everything like that, I'm doing pictures on the internet and they're big successes. And so I guess I'll be going for a little while longer.
Absolutely.
I'll do them as long as I can. I'll know when to quit. They'll probably tell me as soon as I can't see anymore.
Oh my goodness.
I had a grandmother that lived to be 92 years old and never needed glasses.
Dang.
Drank right out of the jug. Well,
Oh.
you were good. You stepped right into that. That was perfect. Good straightener.
Well, I'm going to ahead and wrap it up. Thank you so much, Derek, for
Thank you.
sharing all your info. Please give everybody all the info you can about everything you do, emails, Instagrams, where your websites, everything.
Okay. Well, basically, what it is DTS slash entertainment.com. That'll take you to the on site channel. All the films are up there right now, playing right now. We also have a Roku channel. And if you want to find that, just go over to the Roku channel store. Just type in DTS, Derek Taylor Shayne, and it will take you right there. And you can add the thing to your smart TV or whatever. That's about all the really big places to go right now. Uh, you really want to hear this one? You can contact me personally at dtaylorshayne at AOL.com.
There we go. There we go. There it is.
or Derek Taylor Shayne at Gmail. But those two sites right now, it's too soon to tell how successful the Roku channel is going to be. It's picking up a little at a time, a little at a time. But the channel on the site is really on fire. We've just crossed the 2 million mark and it hasn't been that long. So
That's
we're
all.
doing good. We're doing good. You have been a pleasure.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much. I know it was, just a random thing with that web shoot. I'm drawing a blank with a pod match. Yeah, with pod match. But yeah, I definitely enjoy it. You're the first person that I've had on from that site. And if
Well, you've had a lot of really good people on. I've caught quite a few of your shows. You guys, just a damn shame you had to break your winning streak today.
oh my, well,
See, I told him I'd get that line in.
everybody that so as I said, I live in Memphis, so everybody that's here, they're all Memphis people, but everybody from the virtual cast is, they're all over the place. So
But your heart is in Alabama.
yes.
I I got a pretty good ear. I could hear it from time to time.
Yeah, yeah.
I could hear
Yeah, a lot of people would be like, "You're from Alabama." I'm like,
it.
"You got to listen to me talk long enough."
No, Jackson, you are absolute joy, and you made it real easy. And I always say the guest is as good as the interviewer, and you did a really nice job, and I appreciate it.
Thank
Letting me mouth off about my silly little films.
you. Well, thank you everybody for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.